Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of the Profitable Mindset Podcast.
Welcome to the Profitable Mindset, a show dedicated to teaching you the skills you need to build a profitable product-based business that makes you feel free and fully in control. Here is your host, Charlotte Smith.
Hey, you guys, welcome to episode number 26 of the Profitable Mindset Podcast, where I am teaching you today my step-by-step process for drop sites and delivery. Now, this is a special episode because I have actually pulled this right out of my Sales Made Simple course. For some of my students who are in there might remember this. So this is a class in my paid training that I teach, but I want to share it with you today because of the times we're in now with the coronavirus and many of our kids are out of school. I'm getting lots of messages from many of you that the farmers markets are closing down and you're challenged to sell your products. Well, this training I have for you today is something you can implement in a very short time and keep your product moving. So I want to teach you exactly how to do that. As usual, I have a free checklist for you that will help you tremendously. And that is at 3cowmarketing.com/delivery. I'm going to walk you through in great detail every step of the way. And this checklist will outline some of those things too. So get that. And the other thing I want to do is I do want to stop and read a review because they keep coming in how much this podcast is helping you. Please take 2 minutes and go leave a review. Especially you guys, I'm giving you this free training today that is more value than you could ever imagine. It's going to show you so quickly and simply how to set up a drop site program to reach your customers consistently, no matter what's going up in the world. So, hey, just out of courtesy, thanks and gratitude for me giving you that, jump over to iTunes and leave your own review. So today's I want to read is from Julie J 77, and she titles her 5-star review, "Charlotte finally made me love marketing." She says, "Charlotte shares so many great ideas, all with such a positive outlook that it's contagious." I love that word. "Absolutely invaluable information for any farmer who wants to make their business more profitable, presented in easy to follow steps to success. I look forward to each of her podcasts as listening motivates me to improve a little more every time." I'm so thankful, Julie J, that you wrote that. And today's episode is going to be no different. It's going to teach you something that you can implement today to keep your business going in these challenging times that we don't really know much about. Okay, so let's dive into the episode. And again, get the complete checklist at 3cowmarketing.com/delivery. Now, adding a drop site program to your business model currently is the reason I'm teaching it today is this can be a temporary fix in times like this, where maybe the market is closed down. You guys have heard me preaching email lists for years and years and years, and this is the exact reason when they pay off the most. When people can't find you at the market because the market's closed, you can just be very confident that you've got all the emails captured and you can just tell them where to meet you. Hey, the market's closed, but guess what? I'm going to be here. So that's why this is so useful now to continue reaching your customers no matter what happens. So then you can also add drop sites to your farm store. That's why we added drop site program in our farm, because there were people that would not maybe drive 2 hours to reach our farm store, but they would drive an hour. So if I drove an hour one way and they drove an hour another way and we sold $4,000 worth of product, it was totally worth it. So it's something that we added to our program where we would do drop sites clear on the other side of Portland about once a month. And it was a really great way to expand the reach of our customers. So we added it to our current farm store. But the other thing that's really good to know is you could actually build a sustainable profitable business using only this method. So a lot of my marketing students live in pretty remote places. Some of our students live, of course, Australia and New Zealand, where they're hours from any major town, and some of them in Canada. And they will use just this drop site training to set up that sustainable program and build their profitable farm. Okay, so just know that this could be your whole business model. It is 100% doable. All right, now there is some tech that I use to simplify the experience. Again, this is listed in the checklist too. I'm going to talk about it here, go over some basics. I want you to know that deliveries can be a great way to reach customers, of course, and get your product to them, but you can miss out on the connection piece. You know, from everything you've heard me talk about, you've got to connect with people. People buy from you when they trust you, and they feel connected to you when they trust you, and they won't buy from you if they don't trust you. So you've got to make sure to still fit in a way to connect with your customers in person. So even though we did drop sites, we would still have farm tours we would invite them to, or you could do other events, even instead of driving 2 hours one way just to do the drop site. Maybe you drive 2 hours one way and you are giving presentations or doing demos and you're attracting other people too. So you've still got to figure out how to connect with people in person and offer opportunities to do that. The main thing I would do at a drop site, though, is take someone with you so that you can connect with everybody in person. Now, because this is an unusual time right now with the coronavirus, you can send an email ahead of time that says, due to social distancing, I'm going to give you a virtual hug. You could make light of it, and you can still figure out how to connect with people from 3 to 6 feet away, which is the amount or the distance they're recommending with social distancing. So you've still got to connect with them in person. And like I said, I take someone with me who then has the iPad or the phone in their hand, ringing up all the balance of all the charges, so that my whole job when I was at a drop site was to engage with people. Here's why. You're their farmer. You are a celebrity to your customers. As soon as you embrace that belief or that mindset that you're their farmer, you're their celebrity, you're their hero, then you will realize that it is your job to be there for them, to connect with them. That is what is going to make them trust you and connect with you and purchase from you and be loyal to you. I've gotten a lot of emails recently from people saying, hey, why we have such a big problem retaining customers. Well, it's multifaceted, but one of the main things is if you consistently connect with your customers, and that is like every 2 weeks throughout the year, whether it's in person or via email, your retention rate will be closer to 80% or even higher. So just know that connection is everything. Connecting with people, making them feel like they have a connection with you, engaging with them in a conversation is more important than anything else you can do, including taking money, because engaging with them means that they will come back again and again and again and spend money with you and support you and send their friends with you. Okay, so that's why that is always the forefront of your mind, that's your number one job, to connect with your customers. All right, now let's get into some more specifics. What I do is when people place an order, I take a $40 non-refundable deposit, and that goes toward their order. Now, the reason I take that deposit is, and they don't pay for it in whole, is a lot of our products are priced by the pound, so I don't know the final amount. And I also learned that if I took a small deposit, like $10, they were willing to miss that appointment for $10. But if they had to pay $40, they were always there at the appointment. They never missed that appointment, knowing they would forfeit their $40. Okay. So I never had anyone no show, but there were other details I did to make sure they showed up too. And as this episode goes on, I'm going to outline those too. So consider $40 or $50 or prepaying the full order if if you know the exact amount of what the order will be. So like if you're just selling things that are a set price, like eggs and milk and other products, and the prices don't vary, then you could just get 100% of the payment up front. And then the only time they get their money back is if they cancel their order 3 days in advance, because then I haven't packed it or anything. I haven't put the labor into it. But it says right in my paperwork that if they cancel the order less than 3 days in advance, I keep the money because I have already started the process. So once they pay that deposit to reserve the product, then I'm going to package the order starting the night before, and I will go meet them at the designated location. Now, we have a couple different ways we do a drop site. Sometimes I will choose a customer's home, like someone will volunteer that I can pull in their driveway and people can pull up and park along the street and I can do the drop site right there. Or I will pull into a parking lot depending on my location. If you are in Sales Made Simple, you heard one of my expert interviews of one of our students there, Serena, and she delivers in a parking garage in the off season to the farmers market so that she knows her customers can meet her in this garage all winter long. The customers know they can still get their product all winter long, even though the farmer's market has closed, and she's just arranged to do it in a parking garage so that they're protected from the weather. Okay, so I'm going to give you a whole bunch of details here. Like I said, you can take notes or you can get that download for free that has all these things down or written down already for you. So one of the things I don't do is I don't give people a window of time. And I want to encourage you not to give them a window to show up either. Otherwise, you'll sit there and waste a lot of time. What I say is if it's a Saturday morning at 10 drop off, I say I will be there at 10 a.m. and you need to be on time and pick up your product. Here's how it works out. There's always a few people who show up early, and I might be 15 minutes early. There's always a few people who show up early. And then there's always a few people who show up to 15 minutes late. And then there's always the other third of the people who are right on time. So what happens is they naturally space themselves out. And what happens is if you give people a window, like if you say, I'm going to be there from at the drop site from 10 till noon, just take it from me. It's a huge waste of your time. You're going to spend a lot of time sitting there. Not to mention if your product is frozen in freezers, it's thawing at that time. So especially during the hot summer days, it is really crucial that you just say the one time you're going to be there. If it's after work, say, I will be at this drop site location at 6 p.m. And then if 10 people show up to get their order at 6 p.m., that's okay. They're willing to wait and they're going to chat. Although with social distancing, they will keep their distance while they do that. But I just want to give you that explanation of why we don't do a window of time. And I would never go back to offering a window of time. So I want you to feel confident, borrow confidence from me that is the best way for you to do it. Just offer that one time to pick up. Now let's talk about how to take orders. So I created one on Google Forms, and you can go Google how to do that and just create an order form that you send out by email to your list. So quick and easy to do. We don't have an online shopping cart, so this works just fine for us. If you have an online shopping cart, you might want to do it differently, but just know that was a very simple option that works really, really well for us. So because I use a WordPress website and I don't sell anything else online, I just will use it to market what we have at our store, then it will work great for you too if you're in a similar situation. All right, then let's get into just a few ideas on packing up the product. So what I would do is we had 2 walk-in freezers and we just stopped shipping or delivering meat. But this is exactly how we did it. We had 2 walk-in freezers and I would pack the orders the night before or the morning of if if I didn't have to leave the house super early. So in the big walk-in freezer, it was easy for me to go in there, and if I had 10 orders, I had 10 coolers in the floor of the freezer, and I would grab everyone's items that they had ordered. I would put them in a cooler and just stack them up there. And then the morning of the drop, we go in there and we would load coolers into our freezer trailer. And that worked best for us. I love those little freezer trailers you can pull right behind your rig. We got ours used. I think we were the third person who used it, and it worked great. So then what I did is I printed out the order form on the computer, took it over to the farm store. My daughter was usually there to help me. And we would just follow each person's order, grabbing whatever meat they ordered, put it in the cooler. And then we would put the paper order form in the cooler too. And the other thing is each cooler had a number taped on the top, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And so what I would do is on the invoice, I'd create an invoice with the balance due. It would have a number for the cooler on it, like number 3. That person could go to cooler number 3 with their invoice once they paid me and just pull their order out of it, put it in their own cooler or their grocery bag, and head home. So really super easy. I would get to the drop site. I would set the 10 coolers right outside of our freezer trailer in a line, number them, numbers in order. We would hand people the balance of their invoice. My daughter would ring it up on her phone or the iPad if we had Wi-Fi there. And once they were paid, they would just go to their cooler and there was their order. So easy, so simple. Loved it. And for tech, just so you know, I love the Square app. That's what I've always used on our phones and our iPads. You can set it up so you deduct that $40 deposit that they paid or whatever you decide to charge, so that if their final order is $259, you just click the button that deducts the $40 deposit and it shows their balance, and you run their card and you're done. So wonderful. Okay, another thing I really liked to do is to add a personal touch to each cooler. I found that my customers are huge fans of recipes. They want to know what recipes I recommend. So even though they buy a chicken or a roast, and they could Google a chicken or a roast and have 20 million roast chicken recipes come up, they want to know how I cook my chicken. And you as the farmer, they want to know your favorite recipes. So print off your favorite recipes and include those in the cooler. Like if someone orders a chicken and you've got 3 chicken recipes you really like, print all of them out and include them. Maybe even write a personal note on them. The other thing I really like to do is include a little personal thank you card. So I took some photos, some professional photos we had done on our farm, and I just ordered them online, probably at Vistaprint. And so I had little thank you cards that were about 3 inches by 4 inches, something like that. And I just wrote a little personal note inside each one. You guys, this means so much to people. People rarely get personal thank you notes in today's world. And that just kind of guaranteed they would come back and order over and over again. So take a little extra time to customize the recipes to the person's order and write a personal thank you note. That will go a long way toward building connection, especially with the situation we've got going on right now with the coronavirus, where maybe you do want to be quick and not stand too close to the person. At least they have that written thank you note in the cooler too. So they grab that with their order. It's fantastic. People have a fantastic response to getting those little personal touches. They're so grateful. I want to address personal home delivery too. So I've not met a farmer who is being really profitable delivering to people's homes. People are just so conditioned to free delivery from all these big, huge companies doing home deliveries that I don't think you and I as farmers could charge enough maybe to do home delivery. So that's why I like the drop site location. You're coming to their part of town, and then they might have to drive 1 or 2 or 5 miles to reach you. And you don't have to go to 10 different houses. That will drive you nuts. Okay. The people run into so many problems there. Like the person isn't there when they said they'd be there. The person forgot to leave a cooler out like they said they would, and you don't want to leave product. So it's just so difficult. I would never recommend going there. And when you have a connection with your customers, they will meet you anywhere. So if someone says they will not buy from you unless you deliver to their home, that's feedback for you that you just haven't connected well enough with them, because they will drive anywhere to pick up product from you when they feel that connection with you. So use that as feedback that it's not that they're unwilling to drive anywhere to meet you. It's on you. It's on you to build a connection so that they will want and have that desire to meet you anywhere. And that is a skill that I teach in my marketing course. So make sure you learn how to do that, because a lot of you are saying, oh, people won't pay my price, or people won't, they won't head out to get their products. Well, they will when you learn how to communicate the value of that. So their objections are really not about what they say they're about, okay? Whenever someone has an objection, just know that it's always feedback that you have some more skills to learn in that area of communicating the value. And, I've got you covered there. So that's okay. Everyone starts out usually not knowing that skill, and with practice, you build that skill. And then I don't think I covered the way I collect money. So I just use a PayPal link, or I will use a Square link, a link from Square. I send that out in the email with the order form, and they can just pay right there from email. Okay. So it's fantastically simple when you combine that, your email marketing with Google Forms and a link to pay right there. And then you take your phone to the drop site and you charge the balance right on your phone. It's fantastic. So good. Now, if you don't have cell service, or you don't have Wi-Fi service, and you notice that your phone isn't connecting, that's okay, because when you use the Square app, what I really love about it is it will store the charge, and when you reconnect to Wi-Fi, the charge will go through. So because our farm is remote, sometimes our Wi-Fi goes out in our farm store, and I will notice the last, 3 or 4 charges didn't go through. Well, I will just carry the iPad closer into the house, and all of a sudden it will connect and the charges will go through. So that's one thing I really like about the Square app when I use it on the run. It's really made for that. Okay, so I think that's about it. This is something right here, what I described, that you could get set up in just a couple hours, okay? You've already got your email list. I've taught you how to build your email list. If you've been connecting with them every 2 weeks like I teach, they will look at this as a service to them, that you are helping them. You're saying, hey, I know it's troubling times and it's hard for you to get out to the market. You're worried about it if the market's open or maybe the markets are closed. I can still help you. I've got your back. We've got you covered. Here's what I want you to do. We're going to meet at 10 a.m. Saturday morning at this place. Everyone's going to practice social distancing. You're going to get your order, and everything is safe. In that email, you can address the few things you're doing to make sure you're paying attention to cleanliness. I'm sure you've gotten a ton of emails on the coronavirus this week from any organization you do business with. So you can kind of take a cue from there. And I just want you to also remember to take somebody with you. You're not being lazy when you think that your job is to stand there and talk to people, even from 3 feet away. Take someone to ring up charges, because people go to the drop site to talk with you. You're their farmer. You're their hero. That's why you make the big bucks, because you've shown up and built a connection with people. I could have any one of my employees deliver a product to a drop site, but they want to see you. So make sure you've set aside time to do that when you're small. Now, some of the farmers I work with are doing 13 farmers markets in 1 week. And obviously that's not possible. The farmer will choose which market, I would choose you show up at a different market each time. You take turns so that you can maintain that connection. You can know what your products are doing for people so that you can fine tune your marketing. But just know that it's great to take someone with you to ring up all the charges, help pack and unpack things, and that you spend your time doing the most valuable job, which is talking with people, answering questions, and being the expert that you are. Oh, there's one other thing I didn't address yet, and that is how we cover the costs for the drop sites. So I don't add a delivery fee, but what I do is I tack on $1 per pound onto any item there, or $1 for a dozen eggs. I cannot deliver milk. So that was laid out very clear. In Oregon, our law does not let us deliver milk. So they weren't allowed to do that. And I didn't risk it. I didn't sneak it in there because I didn't risk that. So that's what I did. I added $1 per pound to our meats. And if someone, I would I'd be happy to explain that to them, but nobody ever cared. That's what I want to convey right here is people love the convenience so much that I would mention it in the email down at the bottom, like price reflects $1 per pound increase to cover the cost of delivery. Nobody ever had a problem with that. It was no big deal. Again, people do not buy from you and me because of the cost. Cost is not the factor. It's that connection with you. So, $1 per pound, $2 per pound, doesn't matter to them. They're going to come see you anyway. Okay, then I think I've covered everything in here that I wanted to teach you guys about setting up a drop site. You can do this very quickly. You can do it in a couple hours and get it out to your customers immediately if you are affected by challenge in making sales during this coronavirus scare that's going on right now. So get that set up. And again, I've got 2 resources for you. The first one is free. The whole checklist of all the things I just talked about on and more is at 3cowmarketing.com/delivery. If you are interested in the Sales Made Simple course that I pulled this training out of, that is at 3cowmarketing.com/SMS. So check that out there. Otherwise, get the free worksheet. You guys take care during this challenging time full of unknowns. This is where we are called upon to really manage our thoughts and our feelings. Remember, we create our feelings with our thoughts. So make sure you're thinking thoughts that are creating productive feelings, not unhelpful feelings. Okay. And if you want any more on that, come to my coaching calls. If you are in farm marketing from the heart, we're still doing our weekly coaching calls, or book your own session, 3cowmarketing.com/work with me. Okay, guys, I think I've given you all the links in existence. Take care during this time. We will get through it together, and I will see you in the next episode.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. For more great resources, check out theprofitablemindset.com. See you next time.